my lovelies. I hope you are doing well today. Happy morning, evening, whatever time it may be, where you are. Uh, Today, in what I believe is an actual first, the most voted on puzzle is a one-star puzzle. So we shall see. We shall see if it is indeed one star. When Tris told me it was a one-star puzzle, I was sort of expecting it was going to be a uh, who's the scary setter on LMD? I can't think of their name now. It starts with an F. I want to say. I thought it was going to be like a joke one-star puzzle, but I think this is an actual one-star puzzle because it's by. Uh, and now I'm pausing while I try and remember how to say the setter's name. Amnosti, I think. Uh, Amnosti, I think is what I recall. The way it is pronounced is who usually sets reasonably approachable and insanely clever puzzles. So we shall, I'm certain, enjoy this. So let me read the people who voted for it. And so, reminder: if you do support the stream, at the windmill level or above, you get to see the puzzles that we might do and vote for them, for which one I start stream with. And then I start stream with the most voted on one. So today's was voted for by Doomdiat, Luda, Josh, Daniel, Russ, Malrog, Math Pesto, and David. So thank you all for your support. And thank you for voting for this. So let us see how this goes. So I should explain how Fillomino works first. So we need to divide the grid into ominoes. First of all, I should specify this is nothing like Sudoku. There are going to be repeat numbers all over the place. And so, for example, I need to divide things into ominoes that could be something like this 5 omino, and all of these cells would contain the digit 5. And the reason why they contain the digit 5 is because there's 5 blue cells, and then I could put next to it like a little square, and then a little square would say 4 or whatever. So the only rule of Fillomino, it's almost completely open. The only rule is that I can't have two ominoes of the same size touch. So if this is a 5 omino, that can't be. So that is that. And it specifies not standard for Fillomino, but because it needs to work with the rules of this puzzle, there aren't any ominoes of size larger than a single digit. So 9 is the largest possible size. Also, we have these equations in the grid. So whatever digits go in these two cells, they form a 2-digit number, which when divided by this number forms this 2-digit number. And so on. So we get to start by assigning colors to all of these and drawing in some region borders. So the black border is just telling me that I know these aren't different. And so we get to decide which dance we would like for Zach to do today. And Zach, I will consult. Zach says I should fill in the 2 first. So the point is this 2 needs to go in a domino with 2 2s. So therefore, this digit is a 2. And we can bring out Zach for the famous 2 dance. Woohoo! Woohoo! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Also, folks who are more often here on Sunday may not have been here on Friday to know that there's a new Zach Heart emote. So if you would like to use a new Zach Heart emote, that is an option that is available to you. So someone in chat will, I'm sure, show it off at some point. Okay, so yes, there we go. It is adorable. Thank you, Ace of Spades, for the Zach Heart emote. Okay, so this number has to be at least 6 because I need to double it to get a double-digit number. And if I take 2 times 5, I get 10, but I can't put a 0 because I can put as many 0 ominoes as I want into the grid, but unfortunately they don't take up any cells. You could argue as a sort of uniqueness problem for Fillomino in general, but we will persist. So this has to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. But even if it's 9, this digit is still a 1. So we get an additional shame omino. And so this is going to be, let's see, could be 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, depending on what that number is, for what it is worth. Let's see. Yeah, row 1, column 2 definitely absorbs these two numbers. And so the point is, okay, that's very clever. Okay, so these two are in the same omino because this omino must be of size larger than 1. And so the thing I actually noticed when I looked at this is this omino actually has size greater than 2 as well. But this can't grow here because if it grew there, these two cells would be an 11, and that would violate the rules of Fillomino Club. So instead, this has to grow that way because it can't be size 1 or size 2 because it touches both a 1 and a 2. So these are from 6, 7, 8, 9 as well, and this isn't. Doop. I guess I can give this a color now. We can make it oranje if we want, and orange still needs to grow more. Orange is not 3, by the way, so the 3 grows down here. There we go. So now the 4 double grows like that. I can get rid of my helper thingy thing. Whatever this is, it's going to grow. Sorry, I'm going to use the darker one there. Okay, so wisely pointed out by Todd, it's definitely not going to be 7 because the only things 77 is divisible by are 1, 7, 11, and 77, and I can put none of those in this cell. So we have to do one of 6, 8, and 9, not 7. So that means this isn't 4. Okay, so this digit's always, by the way, a 3 or a 4, I should specify, because this is a 30-something number plus a single-digit number. So I can only possibly overflow into the 40s. I can't overflow by more than that. Let's see, plus this minus that. I guess I could do a similar amount of math down here. I agree with Tristan, that seems sort of likely, but I think this can only be 2, 3, or 4 in all cases. So this is also 2, 3, or 4. Okay, that's the point. These are the same 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I think that means we can do a little bit of case analysis to show that Tristan's point is actually correct. Because if orange is 6, then whether this is 2 or 3, this is the other of 2 or 3, and there would be a bar between these, so that can't be 6. If orange is 8, then this can be 2 or 4, but this is the other of 2 and 4, and that doesn't work. So these, in fact, all are 9, and then the only number that goes with 9 is 3. 3 can't go there because 3 is odd. So, in fact, we have our whole 3 spelled out before us. Like that. Very good. Okay. So this 2, 6, or 8 that's definitely not 4 actually definitely isn't that cell, which has become funnily enough relevant because now this cell has to grow to there, which is a funny thing to be true. Oh, the 9 definitely doesn't go here because if the 9 went here, this cell would oh my god, so it'd have to be a 12. I'll have a drink soon. So the 9 needs to grow here. Oh my God. I promise I'm not dying. So 39 plus 9 is 48. So there we go. So this is a 4 going there. This 9 has to grow to here, which now means that this is a 6 because 3 plus 6 is 9. Let's see. The 9 still has to. Hello, love. The 9 still has to grow there at least. That's not a 9. That's the other kind of 9. Okay, so this 6 now has to grow down at least here, which pushes the 4 down there, which pushes the 5 actually all the way out over here. So much to fill in. People really want me to know what 2 times 9 is, but I didn't learn my times tables up that high, unfortunately, for them. So there is some string of 6s. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that finishes the 9. Over to there. So 46 plus 6 minus 6 is also 46. I did fortunately learn that one. So now this 6 extends there and finishes. Good morning, D-Web. So that finishes the 6. 6 doesn't have a color yet, but there's a second 6, so it really needs a color. I haven't used blue yet, so 6 can be blue. 4 can be purple. We can finish the purplage like that. Okay, this purple we can also finish like that. Okay, now this 6 has to get out through here, regardless of what else happens. Okay, and now, funnily enough, actually, this 8, if you look, it actually has to take this, because if it doesn't, then this 8 can't get to 8 cells. So actually, the 8 is forced. So the 8 has to be those, and we need to dream up a color for it. 8 can be, let's see, we haven't used Kelly in a while. We'll use Kelly. So we have done that, and we avoided needing to use. We avoided needing to learn our times tables that high. Although someone in chat who did can verify whether 2 times 9 is 18 or not. It sounds like the sort of thing that could be true. Lovely puzzle there. I really enjoyed that. I never did the Sudoku one of these. I think Tristan did the Sudoku one of these. 1 plus 8 equals 9. Right. You copy the 1 to the second spot, and then, yeah, okay, got it. Yep. Very, very nice puzzle. I quite enjoyed that. You're very welcome, Kelly. Happy to have the one true Kelly Green in the chat. Okay. Alrighty. I will pull up another puzzle that indeed I think proved to be a genuinely 1-star puzzle. Okay, and meanwhile, I have. Oh, that's right. Tallcat told me about this puzzle existing. I think Tallcat showed me this grid at some point, and then I made some inappropriate joke, and then we talked about other things, and then I think this puzzle only recently got published. So this is called Cyber, and I happen to know the reason it's called Cyber is because it looks evocative of a Cyberman from Doctor Who, or a Cyberman. I think Cyberman. I like Cyberman better than Cyberman. Cyberman sounds like a superhero. Anyway, so this is a double arrow puzzle. And the way that double arrow puzzles work is that if you look at any line connected between two circles, such as these two, the sum of these two has to be the same as the sum of the circles. Or if you want, the sum of these two circles has to be the sum of these 5 digits. It's funny, you almost always hear Cybermen in plural, so you hear Cybermen. But Cyberman, again, sort of like sounds like some sort of like Marvel copyrighted thing. Anyway, people often wonder, like, why on earth did I call these things double arrows? And the reason is because when I did this, I was originally thinking about this as, okay, well, a single arrow is very restricted because it can only sum to a single digit number. And so by having 2 circles worth of digits, you can sort of expand the possibilities for what can go on an arrow. That's how I thought about it at the time. So naturally, I called it double arrows. However, the reality of how they actually play out is they end up playing more like between lines, which is why Tallcat likes them, because they naturally encourage you to make these sort of molecules where you sort of use circles multiple times, which I definitely did not think about when I first sort of made these. I coined the term double arrows, at the very least, to DWeb. I mean, I independently invented it, but it is such a natural constraint that there are lots of sort of existing puzzles that have sort of double arrow like rules before the first puzzle where I called something a double arrow. So like so many things, I made it, but someone else made it first. Like Nabner, Nabner, I made it in the sense that I didn't copy it from someone, but of course Nabner had existed before from like Bastion or whatever. And in the same way, like double arrows had existed before in at least one Clover puzzle I'm aware of, where sort of Clover had done a puzzle where everything was effectively a between line and a double arrow. So a lot of these things are just sort of like so natural that they can't have sort of like not been invented by more than one person. Parallel development or parallel something. There's some term for when something is like independently invented a bunch of times. Anyway, the secret here is concerning these cells, which is that yeah, I thought parallel evolution, but then I wasn't sure. Convergent evolution. There we go. Maybe that. I don't know. Anyway, these yellow cells, they have to sum to at least 15 because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 15. And so that means these two cells need to sum to at least 15, which means they have to be 6, 7, 8, 9, and the same is true over here. However, there are lots of additional consequences of that that we should figure out. So one is that means these need to sum to at least 15. So those are from 6, 7, 8, 9. But also, anytime you see one length double arrows like this, you should immediately be suspicious because these are actually kind of like regular arrows backwards because it's saying this cell is the sum of these two. In particular, these could never be a 9. These can't be larger than 3 because we'd overflow this digit, and these digits are definitely from 7, 8, 9. So we can sort of go through there. And we've got actually more single-digit things going on here because of that. So one of these numbers, actually, that's interesting. One of these numbers is at most 6 because we have 2, 7, 8, 9s in the row at most. And so if one of these is at most 6, that means this digit is at most 5, which is quite interesting by itself. Let's see. But I can't quite, yeah, so. So DWeb is claiming one of these has to be 9, because if neither of these is 9, then the maximum sum of this double arrow is 16, because it would be 8 and 8. And the maximum sum of this one would also be 8 and 8, which is 16. but actually, it's kind of funny. I'm going to argue this in a really complicated way. The maximum sum would be 16 plus 15. Actually, wait, no, that would actually, no, 16 plus 14, right? 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 7, except that couldn't really be 7 plus 7. So basically, if neither of these is 9, these are forced to both be 7-8 pairs. That means both of these sum to 15, which means that these are a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sextuple. So therefore, there definitely needs to be a 9 in one of these, although I feel like I argued that in a more complicated way. D-Web actually was actually arguing for something completely different. D-Web was arguing for the fact that these sum to at most 17. And by virtue of the fact that these sum to at most 17, the largest number you can include in them is a 7. And so, therefore, you can't have a 7 anywhere, or sorry, you can't have an 8 in any of these cells, and therefore you have to have an 8 up here as well. So I at least snuck the 9. I ruled 9 out of one place by doing this in a way more convoluted way than D-Web had in mind. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so now... Oh, these just could never be 6. Immediately they can't be 6. Because if they were 6, the maximum these could add to would be 14, because it's 6 plus 8. So as soon as these couldn't be 9, I should have immediately kicked the 6 out of these cells. I just didn't. D-Web is explaining to me that I should have seen that. I agree, I should have seen that. Okay. So we've got that. Yep. Sayori has a point that I've seen in a couple puzzles before, where if these are a 7-8 pair, it causes a geometric disaster. It's going to turn out I've done this exact puzzle on stream already, isn't it? I think there's a 50-50 chance that it's going to turn out I've done this exact puzzle, because this moment feels very familiar. If these are a 7-8 pair, it breaks. I'll let Tristan check if I've actually already done this puzzle. I am beginning to suspect that I have done this puzzle before. If these are a 7-8 pair, it forces these to be a 1-2 pair. But then the 2 has to go with the 7. So the 1 goes with the 8. But the problem is then both of these are 9. And that doesn't work. Daniel confirms I have already done this puzzle on stream. Funnily enough, I was like, yeah, that moment. Somehow, up until then, it was like, oh yeah, this is just how you do a double arrow break-in. But yeah, okay. Daniel confirms I've done this. Okay, I'm gonna pull up a different puzzle. I think this is the furthest I've gotten into a puzzle that I've already done before. It's because MicroStudy wasn't here. Several times before I've pulled up a puzzle, but every previous time I've pulled up a puzzle I've already done on stream, MicroStudy has been there to catch it. And say that. Oh no, Ambrose is getting stuck on this one. Maybe we should do it anyway for Ambrose. It has just been discovered, Ambrose, that I have done this. Anyway, I'm going to pull up a different puzzle, so I'm going to take a quick break and be back in a minute. All right, I'm back. Uh, Daniel went back and says, funnily enough, Zeta gave the exact same explanation of double arrows before that solve as he did today. That sounds that sounds accurate. Uh, dare I ask how long ago it was that I did it, Daniel? Uh, okay, so I have pulled up a Clover puzzle that I am like 60% sure I haven't done before. So it's 3 months ago. Okay, I won't feel too bad about it having been 3 months. And I did eventually recognize it. I did eventually get to a point where I was like, when I said, okay, I've seen this before, I was like, wait a minute, I've too seen this before. Was it Sayori that saw the thing with the sixes last time? Because now I sort of feel like it was also Sayori that saw that step with the sixes last time. Uh, no, Sarah. It turned out as I got 3 steps into the previous puzzle that I had actually solved that puzzle on stream before. Uh, okay, yeah. Clover believes this one will suit us well. Welcome, Clover. By the way, always great to see you around. So we have normal Sudoku rules, and we have if a digit X appears in an arrow cell, then X must appear exactly X steps away from that cell in the direction that the arrow points. So this is sort of like a weird numbered rooms, I guess. This is like diagonal numbered rooms. So if this is a 5, I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's a 5, is what I am concluding from this. So this should be fun. We had a meme for a while last year on this channel about grids with arrows. So this in the file or in the spreadsheet is called Clover Grid with Arrows. Most of the grid with arrows puzzles were Fillominos because there was the whole Denver Fallout basically where we did a bunch of those. They were Selena's favorite, I seem to recall. But I think the at least to get started, the thing that I always do in grids with arrows is look for the arrows that are restricted. And so like this one can't be more than 1 or 2. And this can't be more than 3 because there just aren't more than 3 spaces in front of it for it to go. Likewise, this one can't be larger than 3. This one can't get larger than 4. Although that's starting to get a little bit by this. Oh, how did a 3 sneak there? Uh, yeah. Did I ever completely finish a puzzle a second time after I'd already done it on stream? Not that I'm aware of, Nikolai, but it is very possible that it has happened and just no one noticed. Now, I am noticing something like, how big can any of these get? Because, like, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is at most 6. I'm going to point that out because I almost have a sextuple here. The 7, 8, and 9 in this column, there just aren't, they can't go on arrows because of that. And the exact same thing happens in this column. And that makes me suspicious that I'm going to have to learn something like what an almost locked set is. I think I've heard Philip Newman say the phrase like ALS or something before about this kind of setup. That I promise I don't know anything about, but that seems to be the point of the way that this is structured. Clover assures me I will not be learning what an ALS is today. Okay, good. Yeah, 2 almost swordfishes is a good way to put it. So like I normally am trained to look at arrows pointing at arrows. The problem is in this puzzle, arrows pointing at arrows actually just work. Like if a 4 points at a 4, great. Which is usually not how puzzles with arrows work. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Funnily enough, the thing I noticed in my opening is that this couldn't be a 4. Because and Josh has just rediscovered the thing that I noticed when I was doing the rules intro, which is that if this is a 4, it makes that a 4, which makes that a 4. And so that does not work. So that can't be a 4. There's no chance that this can't be a 4, is there? That would be sort of hilarious if that were the point. And that I actually was going to get the sort of 4, but no, I think these, as far as I can tell, can both be 4s. Let's see. Row 8, column 3 can't be 4. Yeah, okay, so we are finding more can't be 4 arrows. Because if this is 4, it puts a 4 on top of a cell that's not a 4. Okay, this is getting very suspicious. Let's see. Okay, so where did these arrows point? In column 5 is what Sayori is encouraging me to look at. And I think Sayori's point is going to be good. So if I look at where these arrows land in column 5, they land in the yellow squares. And if I look at where these point in column 5, they land in those two and that one. So the point being that creates an interesting problem with 2s, which is that I don't think there's any of these cells that could be a 2 for both columns. Because the only overlapping cells are these two, and the two that overlap, well, I can't have both of those be 2, and I can't have both of those be 2. And so my sort of sextuples here, they don't both include a 2. It does certainly look intentional, doesn't it, Clover? It's definitely one of those things where it's sort of like, well, that was either intentional, or Clover is like, wow, I never noticed that. But that is very interesting. And so just to sort of emphasize, I can't put 2 2s in all of this mess of arrow cells because it would put 2 2s in column 5. And now the question is, can I do a similar thing with 4s by asking where these cells point in the other column? So these cells, where do they point in this column? Those point there. These just don't get over to that. Those can't be 4. That points... oh, why did I make those yellow? I didn't mean to make those yellow. Those point... Oh, this one can't be 4 at all. And so if there's a 4 in this column, then the 4 in this column... Sorry, if there's a 4 on an arrow in this column, the 4 in this column isn't on an arrow. Let's see if the same thing is true over here. Those could be 4, but they would put the 4s here. If that were a 4, it would put the 4 there. And that one just can't be 4. So if 4 is in an arrow in one column, it's not on an arrow in the other column. And if 2 is in an arrow in one column, it's not on an arrow in the other column for a different reason. Which means that the rejected digits in these columns are 2, 4, 7, 8, and 9. Because we have to reject only one digit from each column, and I must reject a 2 from one, and I must reject a 4 from the other. So indeed, in one column, these are everything from 1 to 6 except 2, and in the other column, they're everything from 1 to 6 except 4. And now I think I want to ask what happens with a 6. Oh, have I not rejected enough? I thought I'd rejected it. Clover says I need to get rid of 2 more. Uh, I don't. I think I'm good on the number I've rejected. Oh no, Clover says I'm good. Okay, good. So now I've got to contemplate. I'm just not done. Yeah, I mean, I didn't assume the puzzle was over. I just assumed that I had at least found the thing I was supposed to look at. Uh, okay. So can I reinstate the coloring? I can reinstate the coloring. Uh, so I can remove 4 from the uncolored cells. That's true, DWeb, right? Because of course, by the thing I said is the 4 that is in an arrow is going to put a 4 either in the yellow or the green, and I'm just not going to have enough digits if I put 4 in any of those cells. That is a good point from DWeb. So yeah, I certainly know a thing about 1. So like I'm noticing things like if this is a 1, that's a 1. So then this is a 2. So then that's a 2. I don't know if I care about that immediately. Is there some way that puts both 2 and 4 in the same column? Because that would break. Let's see. Okay, so one of these definitely is a 6. One of these 3 is a 6, which means that my 6 is going to end up there. For this column, my 6 is going to end up there. Let's try and follow this down there or there. One of those is going to end up being a 6. So let me mark that. And then over in this direction, let's follow the arrows. 2, 3, 4. There we go. There and there and there. So one of those is going to end up being a 6. I'm doing Sayori's point, Tristan. I think. I'm at least trying to do Sayori's point. I might or might not be succeeding. So in this column, one of those is a 6, and in this column, one of these is a 6. And so Sayori's point is, yeah, this is exactly Sayori's point. Sayori's point is that if this is a 6 now, I've actually sniped 6 out of all of these blue cells, because if this is a 6, then that's a 6, and it removes 6 simultaneously from all of those. That is twisted. Okay, so that is not a 6. And so if that's not a 6, that means I can unblue this cell. And so row 8, column 7. If that was a 6. Yes. Okay, yes. Now this is now if this is a 6, now that's a 6, and now that breaks column 9's 6. Very good spot to Josh. So that's not a 6, and so this is not a 6. And so now we have something that's like an almost X-wing, except off by 1. Yeah, the diagonals are a bit tricky for me to visualize. That's why you see me sort of like carefully tracking them with those. Column 1 and column 7 give a real X-wing, says Tristan, because now the only places that could be 6 in this column are these, and the only places that can be 6 in this column are these. And so we have this sort of like X-wing cube is what I like to think of this arrangement as, where we've got this X-wing and this X-wing but they share boxes. And so they sort of entangled together like the vertices of a cube. Uh, so what we've kind of gotten now, I mean, what we do have now is we now have some links we didn't have before. So originally when I put this, I was just saying that one of these had to be a 6. And one of these had to be a 6, and one of these had to be a 6, and one of these had to be a 6. But now, by counting, one of these has to be a 6, because that was 4 6s I just named, and those 4 6s live in the 4 houses of these 4 boxes. So one of these is a 6, one of these is a 6, one of these is a 6, and one of these is a 6. But also, the same is true for rows. One of these is a 6, one of these is a 6, one of these is a 6, and one of these is a 6. So basically, the 6 corner marks you can interpret any way you want now. And because of the glorious Sudoku cube, it will be correct. And so that means we've got, for example, a 6 in one of these cells. Okay. 3-dimensional thinking indeed. Okay, so now, does that do anything? Yeah, right. We definitely, I can sort of corner mark 6s in these. I was curious if for some reason this double overlap cell couldn't be 6 without breaking 2s, but I don't believe that's the case. It could be, but if it's true for a reason I haven't yet contemplated, which is very possible. Yeah, and so likewise, there's definitely a 6 in one of those cells, and there's definitely a 6 in one of those cells. We can also say that for the same reason. Okay, if this is 5, I'm being told it eliminates 5 from column 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other row 8. Oh, that row 8. Sorry, this. If this is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. That's true, right? So we've got this same geometry again, where the 5 in this column is restricted to the highlighted cells. And so if this arrow is 5, it actually places a 5 there and eliminates 5 from all the places. So this is never 5. So actually, that's all the 1, 2, 3, 4s we get in the column. Because remember, we only get a 2 or a 4, but not both. So therefore, these can't be 1, 2, 3, 4 anymore. Which does indeed get us a 5, 6 pair in the column, once we have observed that. So the 5 now we can actually mark as going in one of 2 spots. I'm going to get rid of the green and yellow coloring because I remember it has something to do with 2s, but I want to color where 5s are going now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of these 2 is a 5. Yes, and so now that can't be a 5 for what it's worth, because now that will go... that will make both of those 5, which will knock out both green 5s. So that's not a 5 anymore. And now we've got our same pattern. And so now we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4 triple, where we've got sort of like the 2 and the 4. So these can't be 1, 2, 3, 4 anymore. So those are now a 5, 6 pair. And so now I can count out where those go. So that is a 5, or sorry, one of these 2 is 5, 3, 4, 5. One of these 2 now is 5 for the column. If I counted that correctly. The fact that this 5 is in the row, is in the same box with this one, is very interesting to me. Tristan would like me to condiment the 5 6s. So 5. Okay, so yeah, so right. Okay. So this 5 6, it goes either there or there based on whether it is a 5 or a 6. That means it doesn't go there, is what Tristan is contemplating. So therefore, that 5 6 is the same 5 6, and these two 5 6s are the same 5 6s. So we have successfully catch-upped the 5 6s. And so I'm briefly contemplating if that sort of immediately breaks one of sort of my 5 patterns. If it does, I don't see it yet, but it's certainly very possible. And I know one of these is a 1 and a 3, and I know one of these is a 1 and one of them is a 3. I'm just contemplating if that tells me anything. Sort of looking at the places where the 1s could go and the places where the 3s could go. So the 3s can go there. Sorry, there and there is where my 3s can end up. And my 3s over here, 1, 2, 3, can end up there. Ooh, watching the stream on an Apple Vision Pro. So I'm like floating over your living room or something, ELSF? I admit, like, the ability to, like, just sort of, like, watch TV projected anywhere in my vision is very appealing. Like, it seems like cool technology that I will appreciate when it is a tenth the price that it currently is. That is not correct. Row 1, column 4 is not 3. Row 2, column 4 is not 3. Oh, there were only 2 spots for 3 in this column. So it's not that it was wrong. It's just that this one, I just sort of oh, I guess it was, yeah. Never mind. It was just wrong. But yeah, there's only actually 2 places where 3 can go in this column. In this column, 3 can. Yeah, I misaligned my arrows apparently. Okay, so unfortunately, this being 3 seems to break this cell being 3 in 2 ways, which is unfortunate. I would rather it break the other options, but sadly, I think it does not. Hey, it's Avocado. How are you doing? I'm also going to draw in the 1s in, let's say, orange. One of those is a 1 for the column. And one of these is a 1 for the column. I'm doing quite well. I am enjoying this weird, colorful puzzle that we are doing. At some point, I might have to think about these arrows. It is possible. But I was sort of contemplating if one of these was going to sort of rule out too many 1s. Oh, that's smart. Okay, so J40 has a smart spot, which is that these cells would normally be from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but they can't be 5 or 6 because the I'm double checking that I believe they see 5 in the box. I definitely believe they can't be 6. Right. Because either that's 5 or that's 5 is the way the universe works. Because if that's not 5, that is. Because if that's not 5, so if circle's not 5, x is 5, which puts a 5 there. Uh, I feel like this is one of those things where after doing the puzzle, I could make a really nice solution video where I explained coherently what's going on rather than in the sort of haphazard way that I'm doing, because of course I don't know the answer to the puzzle. So anyway, so those can be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. Josh believes that this can't be 3. Uh, right. This would break 3 in column 4, right? If this is a 3, it rules 3 out of that cell and that cell. So this is never a 3. In this column, though, there's still 3 locations for a 3. Oh, actually, sorry, but there's not anymore once I realized that removing 3 from this cell means that's not a 3 anymore. So we can ditch all of that. And so now one of those is a 3, which seems very powerful. Because now if one of those is a 3, it now means one of these is a 3. And probably one of these is bad, maybe. See, I'm being told this isn't a 3. Right, because if this was a 3, it would put a 3 in yellow. Or sorry, it would put a yellow cell here when there's not. It would break the yellow corner mark. So this is not a 3. Very good spot to J40. And exactly the same thing happens if this is 3, right? Because we've got one of those two has to be a 3, so this can't be a 3 anymore. And now the point of Sudoku, or sorry, the point of, I was going to say the point of Sudoku Clover. No, it was the point of J40 is that now we've got a 1, 2, 4 triple in the row. So this isn't a 2 or a 4, but this isn't a 1 either. And that seems important because that means this isn't a 1 either. My spots that could be 1 were orange before. So now one of these just is a 1. And so right. That's gorgeous. Okay, so one of these two is the 4, is what Chad is saying. And whichever one is the 4, if I count 4 away from it in either of these directions, just if you sort of imagine the trajectory. Oops. And you imagine that I was better at drawing. They both point at this cell, and so therefore this cell is definitely a 4. That is a very cool payoff for all of this, and we'll bring out Zach for the 4 dance. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. That was definitely a hard-fought first digit. Maybe not quite as hard as in the Clover puzzle we did last stream, but was quite hard-fought. This is actually not dissimilar from the logic of the Clover puzzle we did last time. Okay. So that means, chat tells me, that this can't be 2 because it would place a 2 on top of a 4, and I'm not allowed to put a 2 on top of a 4. I agree with that deduction. Let's see. It certainly tells me this isn't a 1, but I knew that already. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I should write this in because there's a lot of things it can't be, right? Uh, it definitely can't be a 2 for a reason I hadn't previously contemplated, which is that I know there's a 2 in one of these columns. Uh, oh, no, it could be a 2, can't it? Sorry, that's not the column that the 2s are involved in. I think it could be a 2. It's certainly not a 1, a 3, or a 4. And then the most it can be is 5, right? And it can't actually be 5. I think it can only be a 2, actually. Because if this is 5, we have the double arrows pointing at each other problem. Because if this is a 5, it makes that a 5, but that's not allowed to be 5 for reasons previously discussed. So therefore, this is a 2, which is going to make that a 2, and is going to do immense damage to where 2s are allowed to go. Because remember, I do have to put a 2 in an arrow somewhere, in exactly one arrow. So it's either there, I guess it's this arrow, or this arrow, which is telling me I get a 2 corner mark here, which is cheeky because I also have a 2 corner mark in those cells just by sudoku alone. Funnily enough. Okay. Right. It can't be here because there's a 1, 2, 4 triple in the row. That's a good point. So now at least I know what column the 2 is in, which is huge because the 2 can't be in this column. So the 4 is in this column. So the 4 is not in this column. So we learn that that's not a 4. And so we've now got our 1, 2, 3 triple. This is a super cool puzzle. Which was harder to set, this one or the quadruple one? This one almost feels harder to me to have set for how this is working out than even the quadruple one. Okay. So let's contemplate the nature of what this arrow can be. It can't be a 9 because that's too far away. It can't be a 2 because that can't be a 2. It can't be a 5 or a 6 because of the way the box works. Let's see. It obviously can't be a 1, points out Tristan, because if it was a 1, it would put too many 1s in the box. I agree with that. If it were a 3, it would put a 3 on top of a 2, which I'm not allowed to do. If it were a 4, it would put a 4 in a column with a 4, which I'm not allowed to do. So it is a 7 or an 8, which weirdly seems to make a 5, 6, 7, 8 triple in this box, if I'm counting that right. So now these can only be 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's a 5, 6, 7, 8 pair or something. Yeah, I was including this cell to make it like a triple because whatever this 7, 8 is, because remember these 3 cells need to contain 5 and 6, and now they also contain that 7, 8. Let's see. Okay. Sarah pointing out this definitely isn't 2 anymore because if that's not 2, this isn't 2. Oh, true. I do know that this one's not a 7. Sorry, this one's not an 8, and that one's not a 7 because of where this actually points. Right, and the 5 corner mark tells me that's not the 6, and the 6 corner mark tells me this isn't the 5. So yeah, so that is a very that is a much cleaner way to make the same pencil marks. Right. This column now, this is the column with the 2. So those stray digits aren't 2, which now means that digit's not a 2. Because it would put a 2 in a place that's not allowed. And so now that's a 1, 4 pair. So that actually is a 2, which is going to give us digits all over the place because that's a 2, and now that's a 3, and now that's a 3. Now that's a 1, and now that's a 1. So I can ditch my orange cells over there. I can ditch my yellow cells in this column because I've got all of that sorted out. And now row 6, column 3 can't be a 1 because it would repeat 1 in the column n box. So this is now a 3. Placing a 3 down there points out chat. So no 3 there anymore. Let's see. Okay, then this is not a 1 anymore by magic. Okay, so those are a 1, 4 pair. And the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. The 4 is in one of these two cells. I'll purple those, so this is never a 4 at the very least. Let's see. Row 3, column 1. Not sure what to do with that. Okay, so this naively is at most 5. However, it's not 1 or 2 because those would repeat in the box. It's not 3 for multiple reasons, and it's not 4 because that would repeat 4 over here. So Josh is the one who spotted this. I think that's going to be key. That's going to put my 5 over there, if I count correctly. And now by my 6 corner mark, my 6 goes there, which is going to remove 6 from there. So that is cool. Let's see. I have one unpencil marked arrow. Screaming Ice Cube's point is these are a 1-4 pair, and if I make this a 1, then I double the 1 and I remove 1 from both of those. So this can't be a 1. It has to be a 4. Hey, Casey, how are you doing? 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, it's pointing at a 4 already. That's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So can get rid of those. Get rid of those. So, oh, and now that's a 1 and that's a 1. So no 4s go there. So this digit is at most an 8. However, by Sudoku, it's not 3, 4, 5, or 6. And it's not a 1 or a 2 by the way that arrows work. So we actually have a 7-8 pair in this row now. So this can't be a 7 or an 8. This can only be a 2 or a 9. And now one of these two is a 7, right? Because one of these is a 7, and whichever one of them is a 7, it's going to make one of those two a 7, which means that digit's never a 7, which means that one of these is a 7, for sure. I don't know that I can do the same thing with 8 as easily, unfortunately. Let's see. So 3 is just placed in box 5 there. And then once you've placed that, Sayori points out, then the 1 is also placed in box 5. Yeah, the same is true for 8 in the next row, but there aren't any pencil marks to remove as of yet, at least. What about this row? This row needs a 1, and I know where it goes. So this is a 2 or a 9. Yep, it sure is. There's one more 1 in the grid, perhaps? Or is there? Yeah, there's one more 1 in the grid, and it goes there. Let's see. How about 2s? There's still... Oh, well, I know where this 2 goes, so that's a 2, just by Sudoku. let's see. One of those is a 2, so one of these is a 2. Yeah, what about 3s? We've got lots of 3s. 3 is placed in box 1, actually. It can only go there if we believe our pencil marks. 3, not quite sure other than that. 4s. Yeah, 4 is placed here. Let's see. Yep. 5s? I've only got 2 5s. But 5 is placed in box 5. That seems like it's going to be important. So yeah, 5 is magically placed here. The classic New York Times Sudoku moment. So one of these is a 5. And I think that's going to tell me that this is a 5. I think, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm being told there's more 4s. Maybe I can do more 4s instead. Let's see. So let's see. No 4s there. So there is a 4 in one of those 2 cells. So there's a 4 in one of these 3 cells, but not that one. So there's a 4 in one of these 2 cells. Right. That's the thing I had not sort of marked that is necessary here. 4 in this box is in one of these 2 cells, which looks back at that cell, which makes that the 4. Up there. Let's see. Is this going to resolve with a Y-wing on arrows? That would be cool. Red X being 5 rules 5 out of box 2, I'm being told. Hey, Jay Dyer. How are you doing? So if this is 5, that's 5. I don't quite see why. The only reason I suspected that was because Clover, who basically never points out things that I'm doing, pointed out that I had sloppily pencil marked these 2 cells, and that they should actually be bi-values. And I don't know, sort of like that suggests that maybe the fact that they're bi-values is relevant. 5 in row 1. 5 in box 1. Okay, so 5 in box 1. Yeah, 5 in box 1 is definitely in this row is the point, right? Because that can't be a 5 because one of these 2 greens is a 5. So these are the only 2 spots for 5. So therefore that isn't. So that's a 5. And so now that's a 5. And if that's a 5, that's not a 5. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now that's not a 5. So now X is 6. Circle is 5. Let's see. So that seems to be a 7. And let's see. We can sort of continue our 6s around, right? That's now the one that's 6, right? If we remember our logic. That's a 5 if we remember our logic. And so now we can get rid of these colors, get rid of those colors. there we go. Okay, so now this is 8 or 9. But this isn't 8 anymore, is the point. Because if this was 8, that would be 8, and 6 is not 8. I was going to resolve that this couldn't be 8 by noting that one of these was 8, so one of these two was 8. So I was going to do this in a way that was cooler. But then I realized that this being 8 would make that 8, and it's not. So that's 7, and that's 8. And conveniently, it points at a 7. So that points at an 8, which gives me the 9, the 8, and the 9. Nope. I was going to say no 9s there, but apparently instead we wanted to have all the 9s. So we can get rid of all of our sort of condiments. Apparently I never filled in this arrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. Oh yeah, I didn't actually finish filling in my 6s in my 6 cube, apparently. I thought I finished filling in my 6 cube, but I did not. So let's see. These are 3, 4, and 7, it would seem. It seems to make that a 4. Seems to make that a 4. If we smear a little bit of the world with pencil marks, we can make some progress. Those aren't 8s. So let's see. So that seems to be a 7 and an 8. Let's see. More smearing the world with pencil marks. So that is a 7, 8, 9 triple in the row now. So that is a 3. And this is a naked single now, so I'm going to fill it in because there's a 7, 8, 9 row and triple in the row. So that's a 5. Well, it is a triple, but it's also an 8, 9 pair, points out D-Web. So that's a 7, and that's a 9. Those aren't 9. That's not 9. This seems to be a 2, if I believe the pencil marks. 9, 3, 9, 8, 2, 2, 6, 9, 8, 2. Pencil mark the rest of the cells and fill in 7, 6, 8, 9, 6, 9, 7, 8, 7, and 6. Wow, what a puzzle. That was really cool and very well sort of telegraphed that you were supposed to look at these columns and think carefully about counting the digits in these columns. I tend to enjoy these sort of like digit counting techniques a lot, where it's sort of like X-wing logic plus maybe, where you're sort of counting and so realizing you know exactly what these digits have to be in some way because of Sudoku. I think that's cool. But yes, well done to Clover. I am going to take a quick break, stretch a bit, and I'll be back with more puzzlage. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to a Renbon puzzle that I may or may not have done before. We'll find out. So we have here purple Renbon, which always contain a string of consecutive digits in any order. So that could be, for example, 6, 8, 7. Those could be the consecutive string of digits 6, 7, 8, but they can be sort of jumbled along the line. I should normally stress that you can't repeat digits along a Renbon, but that is not relevant here because all the Renbon live in a single box. In a quadruple, you have digits that necessarily appear in the surrounding cells. So there is at least 1 6 and at least 1 7 in here. And in this case, I can guarantee you there's exactly 1 6 and exactly 1 7 in these cells. Here, it could be that those are both 1. That's fine to fulfill the 1 3. And along this green line, digits must differ by at least 5. All right, so that is the rules of the puzzle. So let's see. Where shall we get started? So anywhere we have these sort of aligning quads is pretty interesting. So I know there's a 5 in each of these squares. So the 5 in row 9 has to go down here. Likewise, the 7 in row 1 has to go up here. 5 in this column has to go here. The 6 in this column has to go here. Let's see. I'm trying to understand why people think the 9 can't go on this Renbon. I don't understand it yet. Certainly, yeah, one of those is the 5, because this Renbon definitely needs a 5. Yeah, I can corner mark it in 3 cells for the 5 if I want. Let's see. What? Is there a rule here? Oh, I didn't ever read the rule. Digits on a line indicate how many times that digit appears across all lines in the grid. There's an extra rule. Okay. I was wondering why this was marked as counting in the spreadsheet. So yes, okay. So that there was a rule that we just did not read, and by we I mean I just did not read. That digits on lines indicate how many times that digit appears. So this is sort of counting circle style. So let's see. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So there are 33 digits on lines. So there are therefore 12 points of digits not on lines is how I usually like to think about it, because the total sum of all the digits is 45. So you sort of take the complement. But several people have noted 9 is definitely not on a line because of this pattern. So 9 is one of the digits that is not anywhere on a line. And in particular, that means that that digit is a 9. And so we can do the 9 dance. Woohoo! Waha! Waha! Wee! So either 4 doesn't appear on a line anywhere, or 1 and 3 don't appear on a line anywhere. that is that is what we have concluded. However, I know one of these has to be 7. Actually, I know there's 2 8s in these cells, for what it's worth. Oh, sorry. 12 minus 9 is 3, I am being told. So either 1 and 2 don't appear, or 3 doesn't appear. I apparently cannot subtract 45 from 33 and then subtract 9 from the remainder very well. Let's see. I mean, I know there's a 5 on both of these length 5 renbans. Yeah, I was sort of thinking that with renban stuff, 3 being missing would be kind of tricky. But I don't think it's impossible because there's lots of length 2 renban. Oh, but the problem is if 3 is missing, I'd end up with 2 2s, which would give me 2 1s. Okay, that's really cute. Okay, so what's actually happening here is that if I omit 3, I have a problem with 1s and 2s. That's only a problem once you think about it a little bit more, which is that oh, no. Sorry, J40 is right. Sorry, I was about to argue something that was wrong. The second 2 can be on a whisper. Yeah, so I think it's totally possible that we're omitting 1 and a 2. Sorry, I forgot we have a whisper on which to hide digits. It was a very clever deduction until it turned out to not be a deduction. Stupid, silly thing. Yep, the whisper always getting in the way. Alrighty. It is true. 1 and 2 could never appear on longer than on 3 or longer renban, because if a 1 was on a length 3 renban, it would force 1, 2, and 3 to be on renban, and we can't have that. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for that meddling whisper. Okay. Yeah, I agree with Tristan that there's definitely a 6 on this renban. I mean, I think there has to be a 7 on it too, because if there wasn't a 7 on it, it would have to be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and I can't have both 3 and 2. So there's also a 7. So in fact, the 6 and the 7 live there for what it is worth. Let's see. So there's only 2 rows in the grid that don't have a 7 on a line. And of course, this is one of them. Right. So because of Garian's point, I can't have 1 or 2 on this renban. And so if I don't have 1 or 2, then I need 5. And even 5 isn't enough because it could go 3, 4, 5. I need both 5 and 6. So these are, in fact, a 5-6 pair. Because of the you can't put 1 and 2 on a length 4 renban problem, which places Tristan's 6 up there. Hey, Manu. Garian points out this renban needs an 8 because if it doesn't have an 8, then I can't get an 8 on a renban in all 3 of these rows. So in fact, actually, there's an 8 here. So there's an 8 on the renban, and there's an 8 on this renban as well. Oh, what's your master's thesis on, Manu, if you don't mind saying? So in fact, actually, I can just fill in the digits. It's 8, 7, 6. Well, I've already got the 6, 5, 4. And we know that these aren't the 7. And I guess I can get rid of my 8 corner marks because they're not doing anything anymore. Yeah, I guess the 5 and the 7 both have to be on this Renbon by that reasoning, right? If there's an 8, I know what it is because I can't have a 9, right? So as soon as there's an 8, it has to be 7, 6, 5. Oops. That's pretty cool. So yeah, so that means that these have to be the 5, 7. I hadn't really appreciated that, but it's true. So that 5, 7 looks over, says that's not 5 or 7, actually places the corner marked 7 there. It does place an 8 on the German Whispers for the same sort of reason of if I don't put an 8 on the German Whispers, I can't get an 8. I can't get 3 8s on the German Whispers in these lines. So there's an 8 together with a 1, 2, or 3. And I think I can prove there can't be a 1. Because if there was a 1, I would need to also have 2 2s on lines, but I would not be able to do that without 1s or 3s. So there's definitely not a 1 on there by the sort of almost but not quite proof we gave earlier about what had to be happening in the world. Yeah, and the 8 in box 2 is definitely on one of these. I just wasn't enthusiastic about corner marking that 8 was there, but I guess it's actually no, it is worth marking. Sorry, I was thinking it was not useful, but it is very useful. Because what is the 8 going with? It has to be going with a 7, because again, there aren't 9s on Whispers, and the 7's up here. So the 8 has to be down here. It has to go with the 7, so there's a 7 up there, and that looks over and makes this a 4. Making those a 5, 8 pair. So that's pretty stylish. And so so if 1 and 2 are the omitted things, they go in those 2 cells. I don't quite know what to do with that just yet, but we're getting there. This has been a neat puzzle so far. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I know there's a 4 on the Renbon in this box. Because again, there's not a 9, and as soon as there's not a 9, I need a 4. So both the 4 and the 5 are constrained to these cells. Oh, right. I also know there's an 8. That is a good point. Right. By the logic that I previously stated, there's definitely an 8. And so this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 exactly, and we know those aren't 4 or 5. That is a very smart observation. And so that gives me a 6. Oh, no, it does not. I was going to say it gives me a 6, 7, 8 quadruple, but it does not quite give me that. So these are 1, 2, 3, 9. There is a 7 quadruple, which does rule 7 out of those cells. So that does give me a 6, 8 pair, actually. Means that's not 6 or 8. It is 4 or 5. For what it is worth. Oh, and I know these are... No, I don't know those are 7, 8, because those could be 7, 8. Over here. If those are 7, 8, these would be 3, 4. Which would be kind of, but not quite interesting with this 3, 4 quadruple. Uh, and I know that 2 of these 3 have an 8 on them, for what it's worth. And so it's either 8-7 or 8-7-6. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 6s on lines for what it's worth. Let's see. Yeah, 2 of them have 7 and 8. That's true. Yeah, there's one by those. People say this can't be a 6 by sudoku. Because this would need to be 5 or 7. I see. Okay, yeah, this would need to be 5 or 7, and it can't be 5 by the pair. Okay, got it. I agree with that assessment. I might as well fill in that these are 1, 2, 3. Just so that I have it. No 6 on the Renbans in box 2, because it would have to go at the top, and it would have to go with a 5, which it can't. So I agree with that. So yeah, so there's no 6s on these lines. Agree with that assessment. I mean, I need 6 6s on lines, but I don't see a whole lot to do with that. And I don't know that this can't be a 6. So, like, if I corner marked 6, it would be one of those. I'm not corner marking that. Let's see. Okay, so boxes with no 6s on a line include these 3. And therefore, every other box needs a 6 on a line, is what chat is saying. Because we proved you can't put a 6 on this line. We proved you can't put a 6 there. We already knew you couldn't put a 6 there. So every other box needs a 6 on a line. Therefore, this Renban and this Renban both need to have 6s. And therefore, by Z-wing, that's not a 6. Just asking where does the 6 go in row 6. Over there, that is a 6. So remembering that these lines need 8s, this is not the one with an 8. So therefore, both of these have 8s. So this one is 7, 8. And this, oh, and we actually know the order. It's 8 and 7. And this one is 6, 7, 8. I can get rid of the 6 corner marks. Why not? That one's the 7. These are 6 and 8. And that 6, 8 pair looks over and tells me that is the 6. Now the 6 only goes with a 5 because the 7 is already gone. So that is my 5 over there. That was a neat chain of events. Let's see. These aren't 6 anymore. 8 in box 9 is now Oh, sorry, 8 in box 9. Right. The point is 8 can't go there anymore. So the 8 on the line now goes in one of these cells. The point is, as soon as this can't be an 8, if the 8 is on the 2-cell line, that would have to be an 8, but then this would be a 7, and it can't be anymore. So now the 8 is on this line with a 7, but we know the order because of that 7. So that's an 8, and that's a 7, and that's an 8. Those are all non-8 digits, as is that. So the 8 on this one is actually placed. That is an 8, which gives me the 6 and the 8. If I did that correctly, which gives me the 5 and the 8 over here. Let's see. How many 8s is that? Some. This is a 4, 5, 7 triple, so that's a 6, which makes that a 5 and a 6. That's not the 5 anymore. I can get rid of the 4 and the 5. Yeah, 8 in box 4 is placed here, points out Nicholas. Let's see, there's a 7 over here somewhere, but I don't quite know where it is. This one of these two is 7, points out Sayori, because of this 4, 5, 7 triple, and that one can't be 7. That looks up and actually makes that a 5, and that a 7, which then looks back down and makes that a 5. Sweet Blues says that there need to be 2 more 4s on lines, because we've got 1 4 over here, 1 4 over here, and therefore one of the 4s has to go in here, and one of the 4s has to go over here. So this is a 3 4 now. So this finally resolves that there are 3s on lines, and no 2s and 1s. So therefore that has to be a 3 in order to make that work. 7 and 4. So that is the 3 over here. And these are now 4. Let's see, how many 3s do I have? 1, 2. This needs to be the other 3. So these are 3, 4, 7, 8, I believe. And we know that these aren't 4, 7. And these aren't 3 or 8. I assume we already have 5 5s, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do. Okay, good. So let us see. These are just a pair, so I should fill it in. They are 1 and 2. Let's see. 5 in box 2 is placed here. Points out Jim. I agree. 4 in box 1, because of this 4, 7 pair, I guess I should corner mark these. 4 in this box is now placed there. Let's pencil mark this triple as well, with 1, 2, and 9. The 1, 3 quad. Got it. Okay, so the 1, 3 quad is going to do it, because now neither of those are 1 or 3, and this can't be 3, so it's the 1 and that's the 3. That's a very elegant way to resolve everything here. No 1, no 1. So no 1 goes there. This is a 3, 4 quad now. That's not the 3, so one of these two is 3 for what it is worth. Right. This can't be 3, 4 anymore is the point. Because if this is 3, 4, it rules 3 and 4 off the quad and puts both of them there. So so that's the 8 and the 7. That is also super cute. This is a very well put together puzzle. This is definitely my favorite counting circles puzzle that I have done. Let us put these here. 6 going in over there. Let's see. Okay, so now we've still got to do some stuff. Let's see. So if I look at where 3 goes in this box, I guess it's still got a little bit of optionality. Oh, this actually sees both 3 and 4. Oh, okay, that's good. Points out 57 thorns. So therefore, these are a 3-4 pair. Okay, this step was maybe easier than the way that I did it. I did it in a fancy way, but I think we just marked these 3-4, and then it would have been much more clear that this was not going to be the thing. So one of these is a 4 just by sudoku, and it's not that one just by sudoku. So it's that one. Let us mark the rest of this box, which gives me a 7 here because of the 2-9 pair in the column. Yeah, I was debating how much will I regret it if I just mark the rest of the grid. I guess it's not that bad. That 1-2 pair there gives me a 9 there and a 7 there. No 9s there. That 2-5 pair rules 2 and 5 out of that cell. Let's see, that 2-5 pair actually makes that a 6 if I look at it. This 1-2 makes that a 4, makes that a 5. These aren't 4 anymore. The 9 in row 9 is definitely in one of those 2 cells, so that's never a 9. So the 9 in this box is one of those 2 cells, so that's never a 9. That's a 1-2-9 triple, which makes that a 4 and a 3 and a 4. Okay, so that's going to start unraveling everything, I think. 2, 3, 2, 9, 1, 3. 9, 1, 2, 5, 3, 1, 9, 2, 5, 1, 9. Loved that. That was delightful, especially once I read the rules. I was really amazed that this was going to solve when we read the rules, and I didn't read all the rules. But yes, incredibly clever, neat stuff going on all throughout that puzzle. Well done to Jolly Rogers there. I think this is only the second Jolly Rogers puzzle I have done, but I really enjoyed it. All right, I am going to take a quick break, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, welcome back. I enjoyed that, so I'm going to run it back into another Jolly Rogers puzzle from the bucket called Pointed. I don't think this one has any secret rules. I think all of the rules here are in the rules. So we have the green lines and the purple lines back from the previous puzzle, but we have added blue lines and Nabner lines. So these Nabner lines need to contain neither repeated digits nor consecutive digits. And so we have been given incredibly generously 2 length 5 Nabner lines, which can only be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. There's no other way to make no repeats and no consecutive numbers. This one will get a little bit fiddlier. And so then these region sum lines are actually here just arrows. They're just saying these 3 digits, their sum is the same as those 2 digits. Not the sum of those 2 digits like the earlier puzzle, just it is those 2 digits. So we can right away say that these are from 6, 7, 8, 9, except that these I notice can't be 7 or 9, so those are 6 or 8. And so these are 6, 8. This digit is also even, I'm going to point out, because it sees the entire Nabner line. So this is from 2, 4, 6, 8 as well. So one of these is 1, 2, 3, and the other is the other thing. These, I guess, are 2, 4, we should notice. So that tells me the polarity of the whisper, because one of these is low and these 2 are low. So therefore, this digit must be low. And once it's low, it can only be a 1 because there aren't enough things adjacent to 3. So that's a 1, and one of these 2 is a 3. And we can bring out Zach for the 1 dance. Ba-boop-a-doop, woo! Ba-doop-a-doop, wah! Ba-doop-a-doop, wee! Thank you, Zach. So we might as well fill out. Those are 6, 7, 8, 9. And these are 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we get all of that. This being a 3 would cause a very similar problem because there are only 2 numbers that 3 goes next to, namely 8 and 9. So, in fact, that can't be the 3. So this is the 3. These are from 1, 2, 4. And these are all from 6, 7, 8, 9, except this one is, in fact, next to a 3, so it can only be an 8 or a 9. That's not 1 or 3 over there anymore. And I guess, there's 2 places for the 5 that yet remain. This can't be 1. Okay. If neither of these are 4, it rules 6 out of both of these. If one of these is 4, then I can go 9, 9 around it. There's a 6, 8 pair in this column as well, so I should probably use that. I don't know if it does anything, but it's true. It's a true 6, 8 pair, I suppose. Let us see. I mean, I know there's definitely a 1 on each of these because otherwise it sums to too much. But I don't quite see what I am to do with that yet. Presumably one of these is going to end up having to be 9. But I don't know which one yet. These 2 digits are these 2 digits for what it's worth just by... Oh, not quite. Sorry, that's not quite true. These 2 digits are among these 3 digits. I guess the 6 in this row is restricted to one of these two cells, which may be connected to J40's point, but I'm not quite sure yet. But there's just nowhere else that could be 6. Let's see. Let's see. Both those cells see the region sum lines. Ah, right. Yep. So these two, remember, are the same digit. So if I want to sort of color this, those two are the same digit. And ergo, if one of these two is definitely 6, well, both of those see green. That tells me green is not 6. And equally well, whereas the 8 in this row has 3 spots, but all of the places for 8 in the row also see green. That's complicated. So green is 7 or 9. And can I do exactly the same thing down here? I see no reason why not. Exactly the same thing is true, just symmetrically. That one of these two is 6. They both see that cell. And one of those two is... one of those 3 is 8, and they all see those two cells. That is bonkers. Okay, so there's no 7 9s in these cells for what it is worth. And that 7-9 pair actually gives us the 8 here, which then means these are a 1-2 pair. Actually means that's a 6. These aren't 6. Yeah, that was slick. I did not anticipate that. By the way, one of these is 8, so that's not. Okay. So it's being pointed out green needs to go on the Nabner of length 5, and the only place it can go is there. So that was Todd's point. I like that. So that digit is green. So we've got that. Oh, this is a naked something. Oh, this is a naked 5, because if you look at it, the question is, where does the other 7 9 go in this row? And it doesn't go there because, sorry, it doesn't go here because of the 7 9 pair. So that's the other 7 9, and so therefore that's a 5. And therefore these are a pair of something and something, and it's probably 6 and something. They're not 1 2, they're not 7 9, they're 4 and 6. Okay, 4 and 6. I will take 4 and 6. Okay, so now, one of these is 4 for the record. Okay, one of them is 4, and what's the other one? So the reason why one of them is 4 is one of these arrows actually does sum to 7. And so on that 7 arrow, there's a 4. Now that actually tells me the 9 sum isn't 2, 3, 4. So both of these have a 1 on them for what it's worth. And so the 9 sum is either 1, 2, 6 or 1, 3, 5. I don't think I know which it is yet. But we at least have that. Okay. Because all of 2, 3, because the digit that is in that column has nothing to be. Okay, Mekdi says 8 can't go here. I am trying to understand why 8 can't go here. Would have to be 8. Oh, right, because that can't be 7, right? I was like, why can't this be 8, 7, 6? I don't see that breaking green. But the point is, this just literally can't be 7. So yeah, so that can't be 8. This can't be 8 because of that corner mark Mekdi points out. So in fact, those are both 8. These are both 6. And so these are a 1, 2, 3 triple, and that's going to put an 8 there and a 4 there and a 6 there. So can't get lower than 4 with a 6 there on this Renbon. Okay, those are not 6. That's actually a 7, 8, 9 triple for whatever it is worth. Probably not a whole lot. This cell is green, I'm going to note, even though I doubt that is ever going to do anything, but who knows? It could. Stranger things have happened in my life. Let's see. So I probably want to just fill in the triple, right? These are just a 1, 2, 3 triple, just straight up. Because of the fact that we've got a 7, 8, 9 triple and a 4, 5, 6 triple, making up the rest of it. Let's see. Okay, so this cell, by the way, I know this cell is even, so this can't be 4, right? Because this cell sees all the odds. I didn't ever mention this, but these are 2, 4, 6. But I mean, this super isn't 6 for like lots of reasons. It's not 2 either. It just is 4 and 5. So I guess I saw that with parity, but there was no reason to use parity to do it if you wanted. So we have those. I don't know if that's getting at Sayori's point. One of these is definitely a 3, though, because if this is a 3, one of them is a 3, and if it's a 2, then that one's a 3. Either way, that's not a 3, so that makes that a 1 for sure. Oh, well, it can't go up to 5 because the 5's already gone. So this is, in fact, actually just always a 2, 3 pair. I can just ignore it. And now this is a write-in if I use this, because it's not 2, 3 by the pair, and it's not 7, 9 by the pair. So this is an 8. So the other 7, 9 in this box is here because 8 is consecutive with 7, 9. So there's a virtual 7, 9 pair in this column, meaning that's not 7 or 9 for what it is worth. Oh, there's a 2, 3 pair in box 5. Okay, that's sneaky. Well spotted. So that is a 4 and a 1 and a 2 because of that. And these aren't 1 or 3. That's 5, 7, 9 over there. So those are actually a 1, 3 pair. So we've got all of that. One of these is green for whatever that is going to do for us. Probably not very much, if I'm being honest. One of these is 8. Let's see. 1 in box 8 is on the Nabner, points out Sayori, just by sudoku. So one of these is 1. So 2 is definitely in one of these 3. So, oh, it's not in one of those, actually. 2 is actually just placed because there's a 2, 6 pair looking down here. So the only place for 2 is now there. 2, that's a 3, that's a 2. That is very, very good spot to Sayori there. So oh no, I was going to say the 6 is also here, but it is not. Let's see. Trying to decide if there was anything else. So there's a 7, 9 in here. I don't know quite what else is in here yet. So yeah, one of these is a 4. I guess these are always from 4, 5, 6, regardless of what they are, because they're not 1, 2, 3, and the sum always needs 2 1, 2, 3s. So these are always from 1, 2, 3. That's just a 3-digit sum to a single-digit number. Only gets one number that's not a 1, 2, 3 at most. So that is a 1, 3, which actually gives us a 1, 3 pair, making that the 1. Meaning that is not the 1 over there. Now we've got a 2, 3 pair in this row. So this digit's not 2 or 3. Let's ask what it is. It's not 3. I guess that wasn't insightful. Okay. Box 9 has a 1, 2, 3 triple. That is notable. Okay, so this is not a 3 because of the row. And it's not a 7 or a 9 because of the 8. So actually this cell, and someone in chat pointed this out, Daniel pointed it out, this is actually a naked 5. Once you contemplate that and keep in mind the pair, that's pretty surprising. And so this is definitely not a 4. And it's not a 7 or a 9 either. So this is, in fact, a 3. It's not a 7 or a 9, by the way, because there's an 8 on the Nabner. Okay, so these aren't 3. So those have become a 1, 2 pair. That has become a 5 by a magic, I suppose. Magic, Sudoku, whatever. One of those. One of these is green for what it's worth. Let's see. So 2, 3 there. Where did these two 7, 8, 9s go in column 8? And the answer is those two 7, 8, 9s in column 8 have to go here. So these are 7, 8, 9 always. Which gives us a 7, 8, 9 triple, which tells me that these are definitely from 4, 5, 6, and that one's not a 6. I don't know if that's going to quite get me anywhere, but it at least is filling in some digits. So that's something. I see that Daniel said the same thing a different way. Where's 1 in column 2 has been called by Screaming Ice Cube, and the answer is only there. Because it's ruled out of that cell and needs to be along this line, and it needs to be along that line. So that is 1, and that is 3. Good. I'm being told we can locate the 8 in box 1 if we try hard enough. It's not there either. It's one of those 3. 8 in row 2 we can definitely find, because 8 is not there or any of these cells. It's not along the Nabner or in a column with an 8, so that is an 8. Let's see, we could color the other 7, 9. That is definitely an option. Can make this 7, 9 purple. So one of these is green, so that's purple. That's purple, of course. So yeah, one of these two is purple. That's purple. So let's see. Purple in row 2, right? Because purple is 7 or 9, so purple's not going in either of those places, and there's already a purple in this column. So that's a purple, and that's a 3. Okay, good. Good spot. Let's see. Purple is not in any of those spots. Purple can't go here either, because if purple went there, it would need to go next to a 7 or an 8, and it can't, or sorry, it would need to go next to a 6 or an 8, and that cell can be neither. So purple is definitely in one of these two cells in this box. And if purple is in one of these two cells, actually we're going to do it that way. then this cell is an 8. Because it sees both the green 7, 9 and the purple 7, 9. So that cell is the 8. This cell is not the 8, and so it is purple while we were doing purple. So therefore now that cell is purple by just looking into this box and asking where purple goes. And so now that cell is nothing, and this cell is no longer none purple. So that is purple. And now the last purple in the grid, I think, is there. I think that's all the purples. Now the green in this box is certainly here. And that green now together with purple tells me that's a 5. And so that's green. Now, let's see. Yep, one of these is purple. I don't quite know which yet. Okay, so so what is this cell? It can't be a lot of things. It can't be 7 or 9. Can't be 1 for sure. So yeah, I guess the cell is 3, 4, or 5, which means there's definitely a 6 on this renbon. That's the only spot in this box for 6 is on this renbon. So this has to be a 5, 6 renbon. That's the point. So that is a 6 and a 5, which now makes these 1, 3, 4, which now makes that a 2. And now that is the 1, the 4, and the 3. And I presume this is going to do immense damage around the grid. 2, 1, 6, 2. Like that. This is not a 5 for what it is worth, and this is not a 5 either for what it's worth because of the way the sum works. So that is a 5. And so now I can sort of color in the rest of the grid probably. So we've got that. Okay, so this is not a 7 or a 9. This is just a naked 8, actually, because we've got a 7, 9 pair. So that's a 5. Oops. Of those, 5 only goes next to 4, which has sorted out the 6 and the 4, which has sorted out the 7s and the 9s. And so now 9 is purple. So now all the purple cells are 9. And all the green cells are 7s. And this cell is 7, 4, 7, 6, 7, 8, 4. And let us green the 7s and purple the 9s. Although I already have all the purples. And we can remove the oranges before we wrap this up. Very lovely puzzle as well. I'm surprised that held out there until the very end. What exactly was going on with these lines? We sort of knew the 6, 8 right and the 7, 9 pretty early, but then exactly which was which held out. We eventually got this one, but this one really did it. Yeah. Very neat puzzle and very neat aesthetic as well. Alrighty, I will be back shortly with another puzzle, this one by a different setter, yet to be determined, but I'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back. We are back with another Renbon puzzle, but this time with Renbon lines that are quite thick. So we'll have to figure out what to do about that. But we have our Renbon and we have our killer cages, and this is rated as a particularly difficult puzzle, so we will see exactly how it goes. But the only thing you need to know about these killer cages is they don't have repeated digits, and if there's a sum in the corner, then they sum to that. So these two sum to 5. So we could write in, like right away, that those are from 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can use the fact that we know that both of these need to have a 5 on them, because all length 5 Renbon have 5s on them. And this one we know doesn't have a 1 on it, actually. Actually, this one I know doesn't have a 1 on it, because then it would wipe out this, so it does have a 6. This one I actually know doesn't have a 1 and a 2 and a 3, because if it had a 1, 2, or 3, that would break the 5 cage. So this one is the minimum digit that can possibly be on this is 4. And so it has to have 6, 7, 8, and it has to have 5, 6, 7, and 8 on it because of the 1, 2, 3. Now, the 5 in this box now is definitely in those cells, I'm going to note, as is the 6, because of that. Now, these two Renbon, we need to be quite careful. They can't ever possibly be the same. So even though they both sort of want to be a little bit high, they can't be the same, because if they were the same, I'd have to put 5 digits in 4 cells, and that's going to go badly for me. It is true that I could, Isaiah points out, I could write these as being 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9 are the only sort of digits that can appear there. They definitely have 4 or fewer digits in common. Do we know they have exactly 4 digits in common, Daniel? Like, I don't think I see why this couldn't be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with this being 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So they have at most 4 digits in common, and I think that's the right thing to be thinking about. Oh, I should probably note that these two 5 cages are different because of the fact that they see each other. So these digits in particular are at least 5 themselves. I don't quite know what to do with that. Okay. Here's a different question. If there's no yellow digits on this Renbon, those 2 yellow digits go there. Is that a problem? I don't quite see why yet. But I presumably will in time. Would make row 3, column 1, and 9, because they couldn't be the same. Is there a problem with row 3, column 1 being a 9? I mean, it would be a surprise if it turned out that this was the high in this Renbon and this was the low Renbon, but I've been surprised before. Force 5, 6, 7, 8 into the cage. Yep, I agree with that. Let's see. So yeah. Top renban goes as low as 2. Well, if the top renban even goes... No, right. If the top renban goes as low as 2, then this is forced to be 1-4. I guess one of these is definitely yellow. Is a way to put it. Okay, so I think what Sayori is trying to say is life becomes very complicated if this cell is 1, 2, 3, 4, because if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, it's yellow, and it has to go in one of these two. So this cell really wants to be a 9 to avoid the fate of being yellow. But I don't... I mean, if this cell is yellow, it therefore forces these renban to overlap only by at most 3 digits. They couldn't overlap by 4 digits anymore. It would put a yellow digit on this renban, right? Oh, this needs a 9. Oh, this one doesn't quite need a 9, but this one needs a 9. Don't know how useful that is going to be, but it could be. It also has an 8. That's true. Let's see. Okay. Right. That's clever. Okay. So J40 notices a commonality between the universes. One of these two is yellow. If this is yellow, it immediately puts a yellow on this renban. If this is yellow, then by more complicated logic, one of these two is yellow, but that's the logic about this 9 cage that Sayori was looking at. So there's always a yellow up here. And so therefore, there's always at least a 4 on this renban as well. Meaning that this is not 4 and this is not 1. Yeah, Sayori was on board with that, figuring that out. Okay. Okay, so now... Yeah, we're not quite there. Let's see. If this goes up and includes a 7, then these are... Oh, not quite. Never mind. Sorry, 5 and 6 are the only overlaps so far. Ah, right. If either of these is 1, it breaks, Garion points out. Because if either of these is 1, which is going to be huge, this is going to place a 1 there. If either of these is 1, then yellow has a 1 in it, and by Sayori's point, it puts a 1 on the renban, and that breaks row 1, column 1. So neither of these can be 1, and now there's only one spot for 1 in the column, and it's there. And so we get to bring out Zach for the 1 dance. Ba-doop-ba-doop, woo! Ba-doop-ba-doop, wah! Ba-doop-ba-doop, wee! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So that is going to do a lot. We found it without the set. I'm glad we found it without the set. That means that this is now known to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to have at least a 3 on it by our previous observation. And of course the 3 isn't there. So it is, oh, right. These are 2, 3, right, and are yellow for sure. So one of these is the other yellow. Oh, right. One of those is the other. Wait, do I know one of these is the other yellow? Sorry, is that actually true? Yeah, it is, right. Because that yellow is there, right. So actually, yeah, so that forces 2 onto this Renbon is the point. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yes, because that yellow is there. This is a separate yellow. And so this Renbon is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we know those aren't the 2 or the 3. And so that means the row is the row needs 7, 8, and 9 to finish. And the 5 and the 6 are indeed the only overlap between these two. I think probably don't need the colors at the moment. I probably want to save those for other things. Okay. So what do I do now, having unraveled that? Yeah, I guess this 7, 8, 9 is the other thing that is in here. Okay. This 2, 3, Patrick points out, looks at this Renbon, meaning that the minimum digit I can possibly put on here is 3. However, this is an 18 cage, so I certainly can't make these... I certainly can't put a 9 in here. Oh, right. Sorry. One of these is 3, actually. Sorry, one of these is the other 2, 3, right? I guess I said I don't need the coloring, and then immediately was using the coloring again. Because we know that is there. So there's no 3 here. So the minimum sum of these two is 9 for what it's worth. Oh, it could go there. Right, so one of these is that 2, 3. Okay, but 7, 8 would be too big, right? Would 7, 8 be too big? Why can't these be 1, 2? Why is 7, 8, 1, 2 not in the list? Or maybe it is in the list, I'm just not seeing it. Oh yeah, it is in the list, okay. Oh, right. These can't be 2 or 3 either, is the point. Because remember that this 2, 3 lives here. So I think we now don't want to color the 2, 3s as a pair. I think we need to to do that. And so there's no 2 or 3 in this cage. And so it needs a 1 and a 4 in order to make this work. The 1 is definitely up here, which funnily enough places the 1 in box 2. Right there. And so, yeah, there's no 9 over here. I know, but that could still be 9. 1 in row 4 points out Sayori. I can now just sort of corner mark there, just for funsies. Here's a dumb point. One of these 7, 8, 9s is down here. And whichever one it is that's down there tells me this Renbon can't ever be 7, 8, 9. Because basically the point is I would not be able to put all the 7, 8, 9s in this 3x3 cage if I made this 7, 8, 9. Which now tells me there's definitely a 6 on this, for example. Now 1 in box 4 points out Martin and Eckbert is in one of these two, which rules 1 out of the 16 cage, which has got to be massive. So the 16 cage now needs a 2 and a 3. Quite interestingly. Patrick, summarizing Jay's point, I can't have an 8 here because 8 plus 6 is already too big. You'll notice there's no combination with 8 and 6, but that's because 8 plus 6 is 14, so this would be 1 and 3, except I know there's no 3 in here because it sees both the 2 and the 3. So in fact, none of those are 8 for whatever that is worth. Is there a problem with these being 2, 3 or something? I don't know. Immediately. This Renbon has a 5 on it now. For whatever that is worth. Okay, well, this Renbon having a 5 on it actually does do something. Because there's no 1 on this Renbon, so it needs a 5. But now where's the 5 in row 4? The 5 in row 4 is now over here. And so this can no longer be 8, 7, 6 at all. So there's definitely a 5 in one of this mess of cells. Because of that. Oh, I did that completely wrong. Sorry, I did that completely wrong. There having to be a 5, or there doesn't have to be a 5 on there. Just because there's no 1. Because I need to rule it out at the other end as well. Sorry, you're right. So yeah, so we've still got this this mess. Unfortunate, but true. The fact that both of these are from 4, 5, 6 is kind of interesting. So like the two, I guess we know the 2 and 3 are over there. I guess it's not saying so much. Let's see. I mean, I know this number is at least 4 for whatever that is worth. Let's see. What's the minimum? These can be as low as 2. They're certainly not 1. If I look at these, those cells can't be 1, these cells can't be 1, and this definitely can't be a 1 because I'm not allowed a 3 in this thing. So in this box, 1 is sort of trapped down in these cells, all but one of which is on the renbon. Is there a reason why that cell, or is there a reason why this can't be 1, 2, 3 exactly? Oh, that's a smart spot from Mixo. So I need a 5 or a 6 in this renbon. And that 5 or 6 in column 4 can't go in any of those places or there because of the 5, 6 being present in this cage. So there's a 5 or a 6 here. And so that means the absolute minimum I could do here is 5, 4, 3. So at least the 2 doesn't go over there. The 2 at least goes over here. Which is interesting. Very interesting. Still leaves, I think, a lot of optionality for this, but there's a 5 or a 6 here for sure. It was a very good spot. Okay. Garion is looking at 1, 2, 3 in this box. So that cell can't be 1, 2, 3. None of those can be 1, 2, 3. We only get 1, 1, 2, 3 in this cage max. So if you look at it, there's still 2, 1, 2, 3s. You can take one of them there. One of these is a 1, 2, or 3. So if one of these is 1, 2, 3, that means these digits get to at most 3, 4, 5, 6. So because of that, we get that those are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one of these is a 1, 2, 3. In fact, one of these is a 2 or a 3. So we have that. Oh, no, sorry, that's not true. Sorry, that part is not true. I could make both of those from 1, 2, 3, in which case then I don't have to do anything with the 26 cage. Never mind. Yeah, so what Mixo proved earlier is that there's a 5 or a 6 on this renbon. And if it doesn't have a 5, it would have to be 6, 7, 8. But 6, 7, 8 does not work with our 16 cage because of the fact that this has no 1s in it. So there's definitely a 5 on this renbon. So we can sort of fill that little bit in. So I guess neither of those is 5 for whatever that is worth. Right. This renbon. Yeah, so 5 is definitely on the square renbon, which is not a huge surprise. But no, I don't know that there's 5. This could be 6, 7, 8. This can still dodge having a 5 if it's 6, 7, 8 exactly. If this does have a 4 on it, the 4 in the 3x3 goes exactly here, which is going to force this to be 5, 6, 7. Can this really be 5, 6, 7? I'm pretty sure it can. would have to have these be 5, 6, and these be 2, 3. Which I don't think has any non-uniqueness problems. Right. Yeah, there's always a 6 on this renbon. That's certainly true. Just because it's from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 6 is the digit that has to go there. So these are never 6. Let's see. And yeah, if the 6 is in the cage, it has to be 1, 4, 6, 7. I don't think I know that this doesn't have a yellow or green J, because that could be the yellow, right? Uh, uh, okay, let's see. Mixo says this can't have a 2, so it has a 6. If it were 2, it would be 2, 3, 4, 5. Which would make a 2 over here. I don't think I know anything about 2 in column 4. Oh, right. Sorry. I know there's a 5 on this renbon. Right. I know there's a 5 on this renbon. That's the thing that I need to remember. We proved there's a 5 on the renbon, so there can't be a 2 on the renbon. And so if this were 2, 3, 4, 5, then I'd need to put a 2 there, which I can't for lots of reasons. So there's definitely a 6 on this renbon. And now where does the 6 go in the column? Now the 6 in the column can't go there because, again, there's a 5, 6 living in that universe. So the 6 goes on the renbon. And if there's a 5 and a 6, there's not a 3, which means these are actually a 2, 3 pair, right? I think I did that correctly. Which means these are not yellow or green. And these now can't be 4, 7. So these have to actually be 5, 6 if we look at it. And so now this is 4 or 7. These can't be 6 anymore. Green is placed here in box 1, is being pointed out, because I needed to have a green in box 1, and it's now there. So this digit is a 2 or a 3, and it's the green 2, 3. The green 2, 3 is definitely in one of these two cells, I guess I could say, for the column. let's see. This Renban has slowly sunk in terms of its options, but I don't think we're going to get a whole lot lower. It definitely has a 3 on it for what it's worth. Oh, that 2-3 goes there. Just by sudoku. Where does this 2-3 go in box 8? It can only go here. So this is one of the 2-3s. Because you can't put something as low as 3 in this cage. So that gives us a 2-3 pair in this row for whatever that is worth. Right. And so this 2-3 is definitely on the Renban, points out Martin, in row 9, because there's no 2-3s down here, and that 2-3 is not down there, so it's got to be down here, but can't go in this cage. So these are at most from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 1 in column 6. How about that? Yeah, 1 in column 6 can only go here, and I needed to know that this was a 2-3 before that was possible. Got it. Okay, but now that's the 1. Nice, Mekti. Yes. It was. I was trying to figure out how that wasn't available before, or if we'd just missed it, but it wasn't available until we identified that 2-3 went there. I can green yellow those just so that we can keep track of what is happening with 2-3s. This 2-3 is definitely over here. Okay, I can place this 2-3 in this box. Here is the ketchup 2-3. Where does the ketchup 2-3 go in box 4? And not in a 13 cage, not repeating on the Renban, not on these cells that can't be 2 or 3. Why did I think it couldn't go here? Oh, never mind. Maybe it could go here. I don't know why. In my brain, I thought it couldn't go there, but maybe it can. Never mind. Well, I was convinced. Right. This Renban is now not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. It was never that because that's too many digits. Let's see, a couple of people asking about where red circle is in column 7. The red circle in column 7 can't go in any of these cells. And so remember in this box, it's on the Renban. So that's actually the red circle up here. And of course, that's definitely red circle. Why can't this have a 2 or a 3? I don't see why it can't have a 2 or a 3. That's smart. Where's the other 2, 3 in column 7? So not in this box, not there, not in a 13 cage, not in a 28 cage. So the other 2, 3 is in one of these 2 cells. I don't think I know which one, though. Oh, no, I do know it's not that one because there's a 2, 3 pair in that row. So I think that's the other 2, 3. Hooray. That is cool. Yeah, the other 2, 3 now has to go there. So that is the other 2, 3. So these are not 2 or 3. For what it is worth. Okay. Now ask about 1. What am I asking about 1 with? Am I asking about where 1 goes in column 7? Because 1 in column 7 is certainly not going in any of those places. It can't actually go here or in those places either. So 1 in column 7 now does go there, yes. Nicely spotted to Sayori. Let's see. People keep saying this Renbon needs a 7, but I think people, I'm not sure if that's true. Oh, no, it is true, because these can't be, that can't be 2 or 3 because of the cage. And so the point is, yes, there is a 2 and a 3 in these cells, regardless of that. So yeah, so just by column 4, there's a 2 and a 3 in these cells. And so there's not a 2 or a 3 on here. So these are from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which means there's definitely also a 7. And that cell's not the 7 because that cell can't be a 6. For whatever it is worth. It is fairly easy to get confused in this puzzle. Right. Now I am being asked by Matt Laffey, where does this digit go in this box? And remember, it can't go in a 28 cage, so it has to go exactly there. This is the yellow-green X. The 1 in this box cannot go here. So there's a 1, in fact, in one of these 2 cells only. And that 1 looks over and says that's not a 1, so that is, per Martin. Oh, wow, that's really clever. So what chat has noted is that X needs to go in one of these 2 cells. However, if X goes here, it pushes 1 onto the Renbon, which would then require the Renbon to have an X. That's insane. Okay, so very cool. I've never seen something like that before. That's super cool. So that is the 2, 3X, which places the 2, 3X up there. Oh, I never yellow-greened this cell. So this isn't 2, 3, of course. So now, actually, we can repeat the exact same argument with this 2, 3, because now this 2, 3 only goes in one of these 4 cells. But if I put it here, I push the 1 onto the renbon, and then I need that on the renbon, so I can't do that. So that 2, 3 is also down here. So that means there's no 5 down here. And we've got both the 2 and the 3 living on this. Also, I already have a circle in row 8. Okay, that is that is fair. Let's see. I'd love to be able to say anything remotely coherent about this this renbon. I mean, this digit's certainly at least 4. This digit's certainly at least 4. So this digit's at least 3. Very exciting. Row 3, column 8 is only 4 or 5. Okay, so oh, sorry, I read a thing that was not at all what was there. So this digit is 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 is the point. And do I know more than that? It's being alleged I know more than that. It's being alleged as row 4, column 5. Do I know these two aren't the same digit? Yes, I guess I do. I do know these two aren't the same digit. Because if these two are the same digit, okay, so that's going to do it. If these two are the same digit, the sum of these 3 is a multiple of 3 because they're 3 consecutive numbers. So this digit's definitely not that digit, which means it's not 6. For sure. And if this digit's a 5, then by my killer calculator, these digits would be 4, 8, and that's not allowed either. So this is 4, 7, or 8 only. Can I push any more on this cell? I don't know. Let's see. Martin says this can't be 4. Would make row 8, column 5. Oh, yes, yes, yes. The point is one of these has to be a 4. Right. One of these has to be a 4, and they both see that cell. Got it. Okay. There's always a 4 in the killer cage, so this isn't 4 because of the aforementioned fact that this would make math break. So that's not 4. I concur with that. Ah, right. One of these is always a 4, and so this just can't be a 4 because it sees all of them. So now this just can't be a 1, because if this is a 1, my renbon would go 1, 2, 3, 5, which would be a problem. So that's a 4. And now this can be 1 or 5 to its heart's content. It no longer matters. That is not a 4. It's a 5 or a 6. The 1 in this column goes here, I'm noticing. Sven has told me that this digit is a 7, which makes that digit less 7. Does this cage always have a 7? It does not always have a 7, unfortunately. If it has no 7, it's 5, 6, 8, 9. I think that just works if these are 8, 9, and these are 5, 6. Okay. The 7 here has done something kind of nifty, which is to rule 7 out of these cells and these cells, forcing one of these to be a 7, and obliterating 7 and 8 from this universe over here. And so now that we have gotten that assuredly does something good, meaning this could still be 8, 4, 5, or it could be 7, 6, 4. Okay, that's true. Where does this digit go in row 4? And the answer is because this digit has to go in the cage in box 1. It doesn't go in any of those cells. So this digit and this digit are the same digit. And therefore, that means there's no 9 anywhere to be found on this Renban, which maybe forces another digit and maybe doesn't. Oh, these are 8, 9. These just are 8, 9, because just by sudoku, these are 8, 9. So these are not 8, 9. And so these are 4, 7, or 5, 6. I was trying to decide if 4, 7 was going to break because of that, but let's see. Mixo says this is 8 for sure. Oh, well, it's certainly not 4 by our previous logic, because it can't be on the Renban. So it's 7 or 8. If it was 7, it would make these 4, 6, 5. What's wrong with 7, 4, 6, 5? I don't immediately see that. Now, this 8 or 9 is going to do some significant damage in terms of what this can be, because now this can be at most, or at minimum, it can get down to a 6. And I know that one's not a 6, actually, because of the row. Oh, there's a 7 in one of these two cells. That's the point. Just by sudoku, one of these two is a 7 looking over, which has made that an 8. Which makes these a 4, 5, and makes that a 6. Now make 6 in this box go in one of these cells. So those aren't 6, and this is. This is no longer able to be 8. So this is 5 or 7, and it's definitely not 5 for lots of reasons. One of them being that there's a 5 already in the box, and the other being there's a 5 already in the row. So take your pick of which of those reasons you prefer. 8 is now placed in box 2, has been pointed out, which makes pink 8. which now makes this renban just 4, 5, 6, 7. Makes that a 9 and a 7 while we're at it. Those seem to no longer be 7able. That's no longer 7able. Column 5 has a 5, 6, 7 triple in it, making that a 7, Sayori points out, and making this a, well, it's not a 5. I think it's a 9, because it's not a 2, 3, and it's not a 5. So yeah, this is a 9. So this is a 4, 5, or a 6, but it's not a 5 or a 6 because those have already appeared. So this is a 4. So those are a 5, 6 pair, making that a 4, which is ruled 4 out of this cell. It's not a 7. One of these two is a 7. I guess I already knew that. Let's see, these are just a triple. Let me fill in the triple. Not 5 or 6. In column 8, I need to place a red circle. And the only place left for red circle is... Oh, wait, no. Is there any place left for red circle in column 8? Or did I break the puzzle somehow? Oh, right, sorry. Red circle here in column 8. Red circle here. Sorry. In row 9. Right, 1, 4. Okay, so therefore, this is a 1 because it goes with two 3s. So, as anticipated, we got a 1, 2, 3 thing down here. That has placed the 1 over on this renban. 4, 5, and 6 go with 7, 8, and 9 here, for the record, just in the 13 cage. See, if row 6, column 8 is 9, you can't put 9 in box 9. Right. These are never 9. And if this is a 9, it actually sees in various ways all of those cells. So, yeah, so the 9, I guess if you wanted, you could ridiculously do this. The 9 in this box is corner marked in these 4 cells, and all of them see this cell. So that's a 7. So that is not a 6, and indeed that's the 7 because that renban needs a 7. That was a very slick spot. The combination of using Sudoku, the killer cage, and the renban was pretty cool. To do that. Let's see. 4 in box 4, I'm being asked about. It's not there or there. It's not in the 11 cage anymore because there's already a 7 in the column. So this is a 4, in fact, which is going to make that a 5 and an 8. Make that a 6 and a 4. Make that a 6 and a 5. To make that all work out. No 8 there. This is apparently now 2, 7, 8, 9. I didn't even notice that. Well, I know where the 2 goes, which is going to do a lot of damage. So these are an 8, 9 now. So that is a 9 and an 8. Okay, so X is 3. Circle is 2. And we will sort out in time which is green and which is yellow. Okay, that has made that a 6, and that an 8, and that a 9, which has made that a 5, and that a 6. This has become a naked 7. Let me pencil mark all of this stuff. In fact, I'm just going to pencil mark the rest of the grid. Why not? So that has become a 5, a 7, and a 4. It has become a 9, a 4, and a 5. A 9, a 6, a 5, and a 7. This has become a 9, so it's not green, which means that at long last this is green. And this has become not a 9, so it is yellow, as we knew by Matt Laffey from Uniqueness a long time ago. But it is good to finally have confirmation. So no 9s go here, no 5 or 2 or 3 goes there, so that's a 9, which has made that a 6. So 2 doesn't go with 9, so this is 3 going with 8. Okay, and so now, at long last, we now have gained that is yellow. So everywhere there is a 2, everywhere there's a 2, it should be yellow, and it should not be green. And everywhere there is a 3, it should be... Wait, no, it's the other way around. I did this backwards. The 2s are not yellow. The 2s are green. The 3s are yellow. So they are yellow and they are not green. There we go. Okay. There we go. So now we can fill in 2s and all of those. Fill in those and all of those. Okay, so 4, 2, 1... 5, 9, 8, 5, 6, 5, and we do have all our 2s and 3s, right? Colored one. The 8s don't need a color. And 3s, yep. And 8. Yes, that was a neat puzzle. I enjoyed that quite a bit, even if we did it in completely not the intended way, which apparently involved set, even though I did not... I admit I did not contemplate set as a possible approach. Apparently set was the intended strategy, but I admit I never contemplated it. It probably is a set involving this box somehow, but I'm not quite sure exactly how. I'm just trying to see if I can imagine exactly what the set is that makes this work. It probably does the work that we did with these and this early in the puzzle. Do I have to do something like take these 4 rows and these 4 columns, maybe? I don't know. Curious. Well, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll come back and I will do another short puzzle. So I will see you all in just a moment. All right, let's stay on theme and finish up the puzzles for today with this Renbon quadruple puzzle by Arbitrary. So let's see. So I guess the first thing I'm inclined to notice here is that there's a 4, 5, and 6 in these cells. So that means there's a 4, 5, or 6 on here. So these digits can only be from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm also noticing that this Renbon has some interesting 4, 5, 6 nonsense happening. Because none of those cells can be 4, 5, 6, and that one can't be 5. So actually, we can just outright place the 5 on this Renbon. Because it is a length 5. It's a length 5 Renbon. It definitely needs a 5. And the quadruples rule the 5 off of everywhere but there. So we get to do a 5 dance. Boop, boop, ba-doop. Ooh. Ba-doop, ba-doop. Wah. Boop, boop, ba-doop. Wah. Thank you, Zach. And we get another 5 right away because I need to put a 5 somewhere on this 4, 5, 6 quadruple. And it can't be there because of that 4, 5, 6 quadruple. So that's a 5. And that's not a 4 or a 6. So these two are a 4, 6 pair immediately. And so this 4, 6 is going over in that set of cells for what it is worth. Let's see. One of these two is a 5. I should mark one of these two as a 5. I should mark. There's this overlapping quadruples trick in row 1 and 2. We have sort of a Zackwing on 1s and a Zackwing on 2s, which is forcing 1 and 2 into these cells. I did see we had a decent number of sort of overlapping things. Like this is not 4, 5, or 6. And so because of that, because if you look at this, the 4, 5, and 6 here, these overlap. So that can't be 4, 5, or 6. So these are 4, 6 as well. Right. 2s. One of these 4 cells is a 2, but it can't be one of those 2 because the 2 in this box is over here. And it can't be this one because we've already corner marked our 2s. So that, in fact, is a 2. That is very wise. I was going to say, it's going to make this hard for this to be 1, but I don't think it quite does. Because I was just noticing the only place on this Renbon that can be 2 is there now. But I should think about the 5 because that cell can't be 5. This cell can't be 5 because of corner marks. That cell can't be 5. This cell can't be 5 because of that quadruple. So now, thank you, Sayori, that's the 5, that's the 5, and now this can't be a 1 because now there really is no place I'm allowed to put a 2 on this Renbon. So that now is the 1. Okay. This Renbon definitely needs a 4 or a 6. Because, spoiler, you cannot make a length 5 Renbon without a 4 or a 6. And the only place that can be 4 or 6 is here. So that cell is a 4, 6. And now these are going to be extremes. So they're either, because there's only 1, 4, 6. So this is either going to be 1, 2, 3, or it's going to be 7, 8, 9. If it were 1, 2, 3, that would be the 3. And these would be 1, 2. I think that's okay. And if it were the other way around, one of these would be an 8. Right. Okay, so these can't be 4, 6 because of the overlapping 4, 6 quads here. That can't be 4, 6 because it can't actually be 4, 5, or 6. And so Josh points out we get to do exactly the same thing. That's 4, 6, and these are extreme, except I know what extreme these are because none of these can be 1. So these are 7, 8, 9, and that's a 6, and that's a 4. And now that actually tells me that now these are. It was a funny 6, but we'll make do. These are 1, 2, 3, so that's a 3, and these are a 1, 2. So there is no 3 there. So there is a 6 over there. I should note just for my sanity. Oh, by the way, that 5 has been there for a long time. I keep noticing it and telling myself I'll do it after I do the thing I'm currently doing, and then I keep not doing it after the thing I'm currently doing. There's a 4 and a 9 over here. It was because they were a 4-6 pair in box 5 ELSF. So it wasn't for any deep reason. It was because as soon as this was a 6, this was a 4, and so that's why they ended up being opposites. 5 in box 7. Yes, and one of those. Oh, right, it's not there. Right. Because 5 on this thing is definitely in one of these two. I just have never corner marked it. So, yeah, so 5 is here. Agree. Yeah, one of these is. Okay, these are a 1, 2, 8 triple now, actually. Because I need a 1, 2, and 8, and this is none of those things I just said. So that's certainly not an 8. One of these two is an 8 for whatever that is worth. Let's see. Yeah, I know one of these is 4 and one of them is 9, which sort of pushes a 4 up there. I keep doing that in my head and deciding if I want to bother marking it or not. Let's see. I know one of these two is 6. I might as well mark that. Okay. Yeah. Neither of these has a 5. So one of them is high and one of them is low. So one of them is 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of them is 6, 7, 8, 9. I do know that. So one of them does have a 4 on it, and that 4 is not in any of those cells or those cells, and it's not in that cell. So the fact that one of these is 1, 2, 3, 4, and hence needs a 4 does tell me that one of these is 4. I don't think I know which one yet. 6 does have to go on these Renbons as well, and we're going to have a similar problem where those aren't able to be 6. That's not able to be 6, and that's not able to be 6. Okay. So yeah, so in fact, the 6 actually goes with the 4. That's very clever setting. And so the 9 actually goes there. Did we rule out both of them being 6, 7, 8, 9? Well, in effect, we just did by showing that there's only room for 1 6 on them, Josh, because neither those two nor those two could be 6. But you're right. I don't think I actually checked that they weren't both the same extreme. But you can see they. You can see that we could have if we would have counted how many places there were for 4s and 6s on them, because there is only room for 1 4 and 1 6. So we've got that. Okay. We just got lucky though. Better lucky than good, I suppose. Let's see. Oh, I know there's a 6 up in one of these two cells, I suppose, because I've got a 6 there and a 6 here. Let's see. Okay, so these digits are 7, 8, 9, which is useful to fill in because it gives me a 7, 8, 9 triple in this column, meaning that's not a 7. Oh, I just filled 7, 8, 9 in 4 cells. Poor, uh, poor 3. Okay, so it unfortunately ruins everything because these are actually from 3, 7, 8, 9, which is much less exciting. 7, 8, 9 is not a quadruple. It could be. It could be. Okay, one of these is a 7. This doesn't seem to tell me a whole lot, if I'm being honest. What is happening here? Row 6, column 6 sees all the spots for 9s. That's true. One of these 4 cells exactly is a 9. So if I pencil mark this, it's not 9 and it's not 2, 4, 5, or 6 either. Yeah, I do thinking about the fact that I know these digits are a 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9 sextuple is probably interesting. So like this digit needs to show up in one of those two cells, for example. Yeah, let me mark those. So I'll mark one of them in green and one of them in orange. There's a 4, 6 pair, right? 4 goes up there. Do I know that that cell's not a 4 with that also being a 4? I think that's possible, isn't it, Michael? Yes, as John says, please do take a second to press the thumbs up button for the stream. It is greatly appreciated by the YouTube gods. I mean, I guess I know that this digit is green. Oh, sorry, unless this is a 9 exactly, because if it's a 9 exactly, then that doesn't have to be true. Is that the point? One and 2 in this column have to go somewhere. They can't go in those two cells exactly. That seems like the road to madness. I guess there's cells like these that see all of the digits. So this one is 6 or orange, for example, is what I was seeing before, but that doesn't seem incredibly useful. I guess I can corner mark 4 up here. I don't know why I've never done that. I don't think it's going to blow the world wide open or anything, but it is technically a thing I am legally allowed to do. This 7, 9 is, I guess, in one of these two cells in this box. It's really ground to a halt real fast, didn't it? It was all going super smoothly, and then suddenly everything came crashing down. Uh, let's see. Uh, I think it said it was only three stars even. Uh, which, I mean, it certainly felt like a 3-star puzzle until now. Now I'm really confused. But I'm not convinced that I'm missing something that is difficult. I'm just convinced I'm missing something. But I think it's very easy to do in a quadruples puzzle. Uh, did we read the rules? That was the problem earlier, was that I did not actually read the rules to the puzzle. Let's see. 4 in this box feels like it's got loads of options. Maybe set, yeah, diagonal set. Okay, there's only at most 1, 1, 2 here. 7 in this column is restricted to one of 2 places, but I can't imagine that's useful. I mean, it could be useful, but all possible quadruples are given. Sounds slightly terrifying. I feel like scanning would be difficult. But I guess you could write in like the center cell of every cell right away. It's only from 3, 4, 5, right? It's not 7, 8, 9. Because it sees all the 7, 8, 9 on the Renbon. It sees 6
new donation from Elos
in the column, and it sees 1 and 2 in the box. Oh, ELSF has donated. Let's get you a donation dance. Boop 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 doop boop 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 doop boop 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 doop boop boop. Woohoo! Boop 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 boop. Woohoo! Boop 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 boop. Waha! Thank you so much, ELSF. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Zach, for the donation dance. So if that's a 4, this is a 4. Is there anything at all interesting about that? Kelly noting that Solidas apparently was a coin from the Byzantine Empire, so that's something. That is true. We should look at what ancient civilization references are being made in the titles of our puzzles, so we know which technique to use. Apparently, these are all 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe that. Yeah, so the other 7, 8, 9 is down here somewhere for whatever that is worth. Yeah, any famous Byzantine Sudoku puzzles? This can't be 4 because that can't be 5. I agree with that. That could help. Who knows? Okay, if this is 7, it puts the same 4, 6 in the same column by looking down. So if this is a 7, that's a 6. I think I'm missing some piece here. Uh, Mark 4 in box 1. It's in one of these 3 spots, right? Am I missing a thing by saying it's in one of those? The 5 is definitely in one of these 2. So if this is a 7, that's a 6. That's a 5, and that's a 4. And so it creates a 4-6 pair here. That's sneaky, yeah. So if this is a 7, yeah, the through the medium of the 5, then we get that. So yeah, so this can't be a 7 because it creates a 4-6 triple in the column. I remember that step from the Byzantine Sudoku Championship. Uh, Man, I missed that one. Uh, yeah, the goes with the 5. Row 7, column 2 in box 1. Right. Okay, so yeah, this digit definitely joins these. Definitely joins the 5, which is corner marked here. So this is always a 4, 5, or 6. Is J's point. Yes, and that would have been a better way to see that this wasn't 7, actually, because we could have just said, okay, well, these are both going to be 4, 5, 6 because of that. Until this is not a 9. Because it breaks 9 in box 1. Right, 9 in box 1 is currently only in one of those 2 spots, and this sees both, so that's not a 9. Agree. There's a clue in box 7. It has a 7 and might be useful. Is it? I've looked at this 7 several times and it hasn't made anything clear to me, but maybe. Yeah, so the 4 and 6 are diagonally, are vertically distributed. Because if the 4, 6 are, no, they can't be. What am I saying? Oh, these can't be a 4, 6 pair. No, sorry, these can't be a 4, 6 pair. Yeah, where are the 4 and the 6? I guess is the point. I can't have my 4, 6 being vertical. I can't have my 4, 6 being diagonal because either it puts 2 evens or 0 evens on the renbon. Can't be vertical, can't be diagonal. And I can't make them horizontally there because it would put both 4 and 6 there. So I think the only option not yet disproven is that these are a 4, 6 pair. Does that sound legitimate? I think I've gone over every possible orientation of 4 6s. So this is a 6 and a 4. Does that sound correct to viewers? Please? Uh, uh, it doesn't seem like that crazy to me to see it. It was weird to sort of contemplate. It does not feel like I've ever said those words before. Uh, but the fact that of that, yeah, that was a very cool deduction. So that's a 4 and that's a 6. Uh, yeah, that was I like it, but I've never seen anything like it before. So this is a 4 over here by fact that I have to put a 4 somewhere, and I apparently can't put it here anymore. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't at all. I don't at all think the step was unfair or anything like that. It just it's just new to me to notice that. But yeah, it was absolutely the like, oh, I can't put them diagonally or vertically was the point. And so like that's something we could have seen long ago if we had been looking for it. So that is a 9 and a 5. That is not, I mean, that wasn't a 9 already because we had an 8-9 pair. It's not an 8, not a 9, not a 9, not a 7. Uh, uh, yeah, it was a very natural step, even if I did not see it, I thought. Uh, now the 7 quad. Now the 7 quad perhaps comes into its own. So we get to put a 7 there. So no 7 there. So one of these two is a 7, which is meaningful because question mark, question mark, question mark. Let's see. Ah, 9 in box 5, points out Garion. We're now using an earlier Garion spot to notice that one of these two is 9. So that is never a 9, which is now made a 3, 7, 8 triple, placing the 9 over there. Meaning this 9 is in one of these two spots only. I'm being told this is not 8 or 9, but I'm processing why. If it were 8, that's a huge problem because it would make that 1, 2, 3. So this is definitely not 8. And in fact, the same problem with this, actually. Okay, those two do it. Because if either of these is 8, it breaks because the other one makes it low instead of high. So it just is low. And so these are high over there. So we've got that. Yeah, it was because of the way that 7s got dispossessed that that did that rule. Oh, by the way, those go with a 4 and those go with a 6. So that's going to make that a 4 and that a 6. So where are we putting 9s now? Starting with box 7. Yes, that's a 9. Bloop, bloop. That's a 9. That's a 9. And we've got one more 9, I think. Oh, no, we've got 2 more 9s, but one of them is there. One of them is there. I used the Renbon there to sort out the 9. So we've got that all sorted out. Now, that is not a 7, so that is. Okay, what is this digit? Because it's not 1, 2, or 3. This digit is 4 or 8. I bet annoyingly it's going to turn out it's a 4, isn't it? It is absolutely going to turn out it's a 4. irksomely, because that's the last 4 on the grid. I didn't want it to be a 4. I wanted it to be exciting. Let us fill in the rest of this and perhaps have medium amounts of regret. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That is a little too much, even for my standards. I will fill in some of these, though, like the boxes that have a bunch of digits in them already. I will fill in those, and we can look at those. In particular, these are a 1, 2, 3 triple, placing that 8 Martin saw much before I did. Let's see. So this digit is the same as this digit. Oops. Let me start ketchuping. It is time to begin the condiment parade. This digit is that digit because it needs to show up on the Renbon. Oh, this is a 1, 2, 3 triple, so that's a 7. That's slightly simpler. Those are a 3, 8 pair, so that's a 7. So yeah, so one of those two is a 7. One of those two, actually, sorry, no, so that's a 7. And then the last 7 goes there, I believe. These are a 1, 3 pair, so this is a write-in. It is an 8. Okay, now I think I am prepared to write in all the stuff. This goes there, actually, if we want to continue our condimenting, because it's not circle. So this is not a 2 for whatever it is worth. There's a 1, 2 pair in this column, making that an 8. Can I place the last 8s? Not quite. There's a 1, 2 pair in column 2, meaning that's not a 1 or a 2. The 1, 3 pair in column 6. Right. C is ketchup O. Right. So the point is, if this was a 1 or a 3, this would be nothing because these would be a 1, 3 pair looking at it. So this is in fact a 2. So that's going to do it, I believe. So good spot there. That was cool. And that was a cool interaction too, for the setter. So 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 6, 1, 1, 2, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 6, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, and 1. Really nice stuff there to arbitrary. I believe this is the first arbitrary puzzle I have done. But that was very cool. Even the step that hung me up, I actually ended up really liking that step. And then the sort of the coloring down here was also very cool. This is a very well put together puzzle all around. All right, but that's about going to wrap it up for me today. Huge thanks to ELSF for the donation. Thanks to all of you who've thumbed up the stream. Please do. If you have not yet, and then you can be welcomed and included in the thanks. The thanks will apply retroactively, so if you thumb up the stream now, the thanks before will apply. And again, thank you to all of you who support the stream in whatever way you do. If you want to support the stream financially, we greatly appreciate it. You can do that either by going to the Ko-fi link, as ELSF did, or by clicking the join button down below, where you can, for as little as $5 a month, get your access to the fancy new Zach Hart emote, as well as all the other Zach emotes. Get the little windmill by your name, and you can see the little windmills level up over time. So thank you very much for that. And last but not least, I'll thank the Turbines, the people who donate at the top level: David, Nordy, Franco, Daniel, Danita, Nell, and Plot Time. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to head off for now, but I will see you on Friday. Tristan will probably stream on Tuesday, perhaps with Christian, so you can look forward to that. But till then, thanks for watching, and bye for now.